Welcome to the Goalie Mindset Podcast. My name is Pete Fry, the Goalie Mindset Guy, and my purpose is to help goalies have a dominating goalie career. Pete Fry, the Goalie Mindset Guy here. This is a Goalie Mindset Podcast. Excited to have on here today guest, the great Connor LaCouvee. Connor, thanks for coming on, my friend.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yes. And we just did what did we just do?
Just did a 4-minute ice bath, full body, dunked the heads in, feeling good, feeling powerful.
We're ready to rock and roll. We're going to have a powerful day. And we also have planned eating some raw liver, some raw heart. What else are we doing?
Maybe a glass walk.
Oh, yeah. Maybe a glass walk.
Breaking some boards.
Breaking some boards. We're going to have a fun day.
Yeah.
Yes. So let's talk. I'm so excited. Now, we first met. Let's go back to when we first met. When was that? You messaged me on Instagram.
That was in Finland. When I was in Finland. That was the first time we ever spoke.
Oh, yeah.
I think the first time I ever got to know you or hear about you was from my dad. He was like, "Hey, there's some guy, Pete Fry, Goalie Mindset. Yes. You want to work to it?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
And you know where that came from?
No.
I did a long time ago. I'm talking years and years ago. I spoke to Parksville Minor Hockey Association.
Okay. Yeah.
And the gentleman who was the president at the time, he called me like a few years ago, and he was like, "You need to work with Connor LaCouvee," right? And he said that. He said, "I'll reach out to his dad." So that's where your dad would have gotten from.
Okay.
And you're probably like, "What the heck? What are you talking about?"
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
And you were in Laval at the time.
Yeah.
You were in Laval at the time. Right. But then, okay, so, and then you went to, I think you were in Slovakia. Wasn't it in between Slovakia and Finland when you reached out? I remember because there was something happened on your team in Slovakia.
Yeah, exactly.
Where the team folded or something like that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I remember first time I talked to you, we were on Zoom. I was in a Starbucks on Zoom. I still remember that.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
Yeah. So there we go. So that's
that's the story.
That's the story. That's how Connor and I first met. And you had a great year in Finland.
Yeah. I had a good start for sure. I had a really good start. I think first 4 games, maybe 2 goals against, back-to-back shutouts. Yeah.
And let's go back. Let's talk about that first game. Because you got there, and then you said they want to play me the next game.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And they're like, we want to play you the next game. And so you reached out to me. You're like, should I tell them no? Should I tell them maybe I'm not quite ready?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then remember we talked about it, and we talked about it from more of an athlete mindset. Yeah. Like if you're looking back on your career, what's going to be better for you to play that game? And if it goes your way, it goes your way. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You're still going to learn. Right. So I think we talked about that. And then what happened in that game?
100%. Well, shut out really well. Yeah. And I think, speaking with you before those games and just kind of calming my mind and realizing that, this is a big step to want to play the game, to accept the offer. And going forward, it was a great challenge. And, we really rose to the occasion there. And
freaking right. You shut the door. 4-0 shutout. I think it was 4-0.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I still remember that. That was powerful. And that was a start.
That was a start.
So let's
that was crazy, man. I remember because we did the visualizations and everything, and
the pregame vision.
Yeah, and it was like exactly how everything we talked about, everything we visualized, the game played out very similar to that. And I was kind of like, what the heck is going on? What is this guy doing right now? Because that was awesome, but that was a little freaky.
That's how it works. The power of the mind, the power of the universe. Yeah, it's crazy stuff, but it works. It works. Okay, so let's go back now. So let's talk about you. When did you decide you wanted to even play hockey? So you're from the island.
Yeah.
Your dad is from Tofino. Ucluelet?
Ucluelet. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Right beside it. Yeah.
Okay. And so you're an island boy. Just like me. I moved there when I was 8 years old.
Okay.
But so I grew up mainly on the island in Victoria.
Yeah. Okay.
And so did you grow up in Parksville?
Yeah, Qualcomm Beach.
Qualcomm Beach.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful place. If you guys ever been there, it is unbelievable.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Retirement capital of the island.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's
It is. And at what age did you say, I want to play hockey?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I started a little later. I was 8, 9 years old. I want to say 9. Started playing.
Okay.
Used to play soccer. Just kind of, and some of my buddies joined hockey. It was kind of the thing to do. So I joined around 8, 9 years old.
Yeah.
Started as a player. Couldn't skate. Sucked. And the opportunity to play goalie came up one time, and couldn't do any worse than I was at a forward, so I tried.
You played.
Yeah.
So you played goal for the same reason I did.
Yeah.
Because you had a hard time skating.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hey, we got a lot of common.
Yeah. So went in that and did really well the first game. We won. And I think that kind of was just like, okay, I enjoyed that. I like saving pucks. It's good at it. You have that level of competency.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, well, yeah, let's do it again. Let's see how it goes.
And so you were 8 or 9. Do you remember after the game, like anyone said anything to you after the game at all?
I'm trying to think if anyone said anything to me after.
I'm sure they did, but I just wonder if you remember.
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
Because that can have an effect. That could have an influence, right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, if your first time playing goal, you play and the guy's like, whoa, you're natural.
Yeah.
You can do this and stuff.
And I can't really think of one saying, maybe just my parents, like, good job, but.
Okay.
Yeah, it's funny because I feel like the goalies, there's like, or potential goalies, it's the two stark options, right? It's either you have a good performance to start and you enjoy it, or you get shelled for like 12 goals and you're like, young kid, you're crying or something. Like, I'm done playing,
Yeah. What, and so, okay, so you started playing, you're 9 years old.
Yeah.
And then what was the point when you started playing competitively? Like I'm talking like rep.
Yeah, good question. So I
called rep.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm trying to think what they called the groups. I think I maybe started hockey when I was in second year Adam.
Okay.
Adam.
So second year Adam is like 10 years old.
Okay, so maybe
10 years old.
So maybe first year Adam was like my first year I played, and then I think second year Adam is when I like tried out for the rep team, and I think I didn't make the top team. I was on like rep B. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, which is good. You still made rep.
Yeah, but I mean it's small town, Qualcomm Beach, side. There's like two teams, so I was on the second team there. I guess that's the first kind of like competitive hockey.
And did you try out for the first team that year?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Were you disappointed you didn't make it or not? Did it even
matter?
Oh,
for sure, I was disappointed.
Oh, you were?
I'm pretty sure I cried.
Sorry for bringing that back.
Bringing all the straw in the podcast.
Okay,
no,
so you were.
Yeah.
Okay, and then so you played Rep B.
Yeah.
And then, what was your biggest success that year? Do you remember?
We won a tournament in Comox.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if it was the first year I played hockey or it might have been the first year I played just house. Like first year I played goalie, won a big tournament, and it was like, wow, this is awesome. And I was in net for all the tournament, and I was like doing super well, and it was like super rewarding, you know what I mean? Yeah. And that was kind of when I really got hooked on to goaltending and playing it maybe more competitively.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So you're doing that, and then Pee Wee, what happened in Pee Wee?
Yeah, Pee Wee.
Pee Wee's 11 and 12, just so you guys know.
Yeah, I'm getting a couple of these ages mixed up a little bit, but
it's all good.
I think I played just Pee Wee B the entire time.
And what year was this? What year would that have been around?
I gotta check the show notes speed. So that would have been, what's Pee Wee, 12, 13?
Yeah, so 11, 12.
So that's like 18, 19 years ago, which would be 2006,
2006. Okay, yeah. Okay, so there you are. So you're playing Pee Wee.
Yeah.
And then what about Bantam? Transition to Bantam.
Yeah, so Bantam was the first year I made the A team.
Really? So for first 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a great story.
Oh yeah.
So were you disappointed like the second and third year when you didn't make the A team?
Yeah, and I think the Pee Wee years, if I corrected, I think those were the years where I was actually like trying to compete, trying to make teams. I was going to like Golden Net at the time. A little bit.
Harry Elder Room?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who else was there? Do you remember who else was there?
yeah, there's a whole bunch of guys. Trying to remember exactly. Kevin Janot was a guy that played at Michigan Tech.
Yeah.
Later on, Kiefer Giroux was another goalie I played with for a long time. Alec Etchermar. I think who else, if anyone else plays. But some great goalies, some great times there.
You had a good setup there, right? Didn't you have real ice and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's awesome. Small area, and we could just do. You know, I was fortunate enough, my parents were able to pay for extra training, private training. So I would go out there, you know, once a week or once every 2 weeks on the small ice. And it was great. It was a lot of fun. Yeah,
you did a good setup. You did a great job. You did a good, and it's interesting because eventually you end up playing in Finland.
Yeah.
And Perry was big. He was big with Finland. Didn't he go there and run camps and stuff like that?
Did he? Yeah. I mean, I again, sometimes a little blurry on you know, some of that story, but I remember he had the whole franchise going the net across Canada.
Yes.
I think it was maybe in America. I know he did a camp with maybe in Sweden or a franchise like Lundqvist or something like that. Yeah, or he had some stuff in Finland. So I know a little bit about that, but I don't remember the exact specifics on it.
When did you get to the point where you thought, okay, I'm going to take this beyond minor hockey? Like, at what age did you say, I'm going beyond minor hockey? Like, when did you start to dream about your goal career?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I was really lucky. Again, I was really fortunate enough. My parents gave me the opportunity to go to Athelmurray College of Notre Dame.
You went to Notre Dame?
Yeah, Notre Dame, exactly. Yeah. So that was
in Saskatchewan.
Oh, yeah.
No, you went there.
Yeah.
That is a great, like Rod Brendamore, right? Like, there's so much tradition there. Good for you.
Ferguson.
Dylan Ferguson.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wasn't at school with him. It was maybe a year after.
What's the age difference between you two?
It's 98.
I think so. Yeah.
So 4 years.
4-year difference. Okay. So you're at Notre Dame. And I've done a couple seminars there.
Have you?
I've had the tour of the place and stuff like that. I've seen the Wall of Fame.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that. Yeah. Pretty awesome place, and not a lot to do there in the winter, eh?
No, not at all, man.
It gets pretty cold.
Yeah, it's it was it's obviously a boarding school. It's obviously a private school, but in terms of, you compare it to, like, my brothers went to Brentwood.
Yeah.
Brentwood, Shawinigan,
like
St. George. Yeah, it's like
the Rocky Gym. It's like the Rocky Gym of Hockey Academy, so to speak, right?
Yeah, exactly. I went to my brother's school, and they're eating nice food at the cafeteria. We were eating, not to slag on Notre Dame here, but maybe not the best, right?
Not the highest budget.
Yeah, exactly.
Not the biggest budget, no. Exactly. But a great program.
Phenomenal program.
Great program. What was the biggest thing you got out of going to Notre Dame?
Good question. I think one of the biggest things was just being surrounded by like-minded individuals, surrounded by, ambitious young men that had ambitions of, or had goals of playing hockey at a higher level, right? And so learning and understanding that, hey, I want to play junior hockey, right? I want to play higher levels of hockey. All of these guys, all my teammates, they're working out for an hour. They're on the ice for an hour. They're working out for an hour. Then they're doing like a special skills thing for an hour, right? So it's like just understanding that this amount of work, they're going to the gym twice a day, right? Not understanding that, okay, like, this is the type of commitment that I need to bring. This is the level of work ethic. This is the discipline. This is
were you 15 or 16 that year?
Yeah, so I think I would have been 15 going.
15. Okay, so you're 15-year-old year. Yeah. Okay. That is. Did you ever hear the story of Rod Brendamore, Notre Dame, when they won the championships?
Which one?
The one where they went to celebrate at Boston Pizza?
No, I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
No. What?
I don't know.
No. And he left?
No.
He left to go back to his dorm because he had to get his 1,000 push-ups or 1,000 sit-ups in. Right? They just won the RBC Cup, the junior A team or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? So he was like, so it's we talk about the athlete mindset.
Yeah.
So he had that athlete mindset for his career.
Yeah.
You think about it, guys were like, oh, we just did the ultimate. We won the championship. They're celebrating. And he's just like, what's next?
Yeah, exactly. That's
like a
Terminator. Terminator mindset. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So Notre Dame, and I like that because who do you hang around with is who you become. And so the biggest thing Connor got out of Notre Dame was like-minded people.
Yeah.
That want to go places and stuff like that. I love it. I love it. When did you decide you were going to go Western Hockey League or college?
I think that decision was kind of made for me, honestly. I don't think I was good enough to ever play in the WHL. Like,
really?
Like maybe my what would have been his junior year, so grade 11. I think I went, it was grade 11 or grade 12. I went out to Victoria Royals camp.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. And I think I had the option to extend my camp. Like, you know, there's like, you can be there for 3 days and that's all fine. But if you go for an extra couple of days, then you lose your college eligibility.
Yeah.
So I think I had that option to maybe check it out, but it's not that it's maybe not that I didn't believe in myself. It's also kind of the fact that they had, I think, 2 signed goalies at the time. And it's like, what am I going out for, right? Like, what am I, you know, with goalies, there's only 2 spots on a team, and you have to be a little bit smart with the tryouts you're going to and what teams you can make. So at that point, I was kind of just like, well, see if I can make junior A. I got another 2 years or another year at Notre Dame, and, you know, we'll go from there.
Yeah. So you went back to Notre Dame at 16?
Yeah. So I went grade 10, 11, 12.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So 3 years.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And what was the ultimate difference in you after your 3rd year compared to when you first went there? Like, if you could describe the difference in yourself as a person and as an athlete, what would be the biggest difference?
Good question. Yeah. Good question. I think obviously just from a physical side of things, I grew a lot, filled out, right? When you're exercising, when you're training. So going through puberty at that time too, right? I grew a lot, I gained a lot of muscle. I was in the gym exercising. I mean, we didn't have the best food at the dining hall, but we had a lot of food. So, you know, just eating all the
more of those protein shakes, no raw liver,
no raw liver, but, you know, eating the chicken, eating the potatoes, all that stuff. Definitely mature on the physical side of things. And then mentally, maturing process as well. You know, 15 is still pretty young to be leaving home, right? So learning to manage a lot of things on my own, learning to kind of take actions on my own, being autonomous, right? Not kind of, when you leave home, obviously you're going to be less involved with your parents, right? They're not going to have as much say in what you're doing. So learning to make decisions by yourself, learning to kind of handle things by yourself, learning to manage some adversity, building that resilience, all those things I think were huge components of me, components of me going to Notre Dame. They were, you know, I can't say enough good things about that program for sure.
Yeah. Great program. Great program. Okay. So biggest, or when, I'm going to go through these biggest like successes, adversities and stuff like that. But before that, when did you first get in touch, or when did colleges first start to get in touch with you to be it? Because that was the next step, right? Was to become a college goaltender. And it's interesting that you said, well, I wasn't good enough to play in the Western Hockey. You were good enough to play in the Western Hockey League easily. It's just that sometimes in, you know, the way development goes and then the stages and stuff like that, it's you know, I've seen lots of guys where they were overlooked for the Western Hockey League and they end up having dominating NHL career. Like, just for sure, just because, you know, it's just the way the development goes. Yeah. Just the way the development goes. So when did college first come into the picture?
My end of my second year of junior, playing for Alberta Valley. Like,
oh really? So not at Notre Dame?
No. Oh no.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Because you left Notre Dame at 17.
Yeah.
There's still no college in the picture. You're still developing, still growing.
Yeah. And
then so from there, where'd you go? Where'd you go after Notre Dame?
I kind of have a crazy story with the junior.
It's
kind of interesting. So after Notre Dame, didn't really know where I was going to be playing hockey. I knew I wanted to try out junior hockey.
You wanted hockey as a career.
Exactly. Yeah. And well, I'm not sure if I wanted it as a career at that point, but I knew I wanted to
keep
going and try to play college.
Yes.
That would be the route. And so had a couple different offers, not even offers, but tryouts.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I ended up going to Nanaimo Clippers, Clippers camp. and had a phenomenal camp, had a super great camp.
Made the coach and GM there.
It was Mike Vandekamp.
Okay, yeah, very good, right?
Yeah, and had a great camp, made the team, was super excited, and then like after the showcase weekend, I'm not sure if they're still doing that in BCHL, but maybe about 3 weeks or a month in, one of our players went to the WHL. One of our 16 or 17-year-old players went to the WHL.
Yeah,
and at this time in the BCHL, you need to have a 16-year-old and a 17-year-old on the roster.
Okay.
So once this player left for the WHL, we didn't have a 17-year-old on the roster. So then what happened was we had to bring in a 17-year-old.
Okay.
And so kind of just how it went, I was the odd man out. I was the backup goalie at the time, right? We had a great starting goalie. Yeah. So they sent me home. And it was like, you know, a month or so into the season, you're kind of like, what the heck is going on? Like,
well, they sent you home, so there's no planned place to play right now.
Yeah, it was just like, get out of here. You know, I'm sorry. We're sorry, but this is just the reality. And so was home for like a week or two. I luckily managed to link up with these guys in Victoria, the Victoria Cougars, Junior B.
Yes. Who was coaching in there?
Oh, Thomas Calla was one of the names. I forget the head coach, but super great guys, awesome organization. And they gave me an opportunity to play there and played there for one game.
And you're a 17-year-old that season.
I'm like 18.
18
or 17.
Yeah.
Turning 18.
17, but you're 17-year-old season.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And so they're like, hey, we think this is a good opportunity for you. You know, if you can play with us, we're going to try our best to get you to junior A.
Okay.
And that's a very decent thing of them to say, right?
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes that's realistic, and sometimes that's maybe just, hey, we want you to play here, and we'll have you. So I played with them for one game, had a phenomenal first game, and they ended up helping me get to Cowichan Capitals.
Right after that.
Yeah, so they were super good guys, and they really, really helped jumpstart my career. I played for the rest of the season.
That's huge. Yeah. Victoria Cougars. Chris Lynn right now is the owner of the Victoria Cougars, the junior B team there and stuff like that. That's great.
Yeah, and so I played for the Cowichan Capitals for the rest of the season and did pretty well. We were like not a very good team at all. Our coach got fired. Our ownership.
Who was the coach? Okay. And the ownership.
Yeah, they
challenges,
sold the team, everything like this. Kind of just crapshoot there for a lot of the season, right? But managed to plug away and do pretty well. Then the following year in the summer, I find out I've been traded back to Nanaimo. And so I head to Nanaimo and I'm like, okay, we'll see.
So Nanaimo then traded for you.
Yeah.
They said, I still like this Connor guy. I'm gonna trade him for him.
And so I go to Nanaimo and
same coaching staff.
Jason Argue is a starting goalie. And then like at tryouts, they cut me, or they actually send me to Grand Prairie, Alberta. They sell me, I think. And
seriously, that's ridiculous. That's you know what happens sometimes in development too. I just want to bring this up is sometimes a coach will see a player and they will look for what they want to look for.
Yeah.
So they don't matter sometimes how the player performs. Sometimes the coach is seeing the same thing. He's kind of seeing the glass half empty as opposed to half full. Yeah. So to speak. And that happens sometimes.
Yeah.
So now you get sold.
Yeah, sold to Grand Prairie. And I pretty much come home one day and just like tell my parents, I'm like, yeah, so I got sold to Grand Prairie. I'm done playing hockey. I'm not going up. I do not want to go.
I am not a prostitute.
Yeah.
I'm not getting sold.
Yeah. I do not exactly. I'm like, I do not want to go play in Alberta. I do not want to go up north to Grand Prairie.
Yeah.
And so they're like, you know what? Like, don't let Vandekamp, don't let the coach define your goalie career.
That's what your dad said?
Yeah, that's what my mom
Your mom said. That's great advice from your mom.
Yeah, don't quit on this. Like, if you quit right now, you're quitting on yourself. Don't let someone dictate your career.
I love it.
And I was like, kind of stubborn, like,
everyone listening. Everyone listening. No one dictates your career path. You dictate it.
Super important.
Great advice.
Super important, right? And I was kind of like stubborn. I was like, I don't know if I want to do this, but I'm like, my parents, you know, super supportive, loving. They're like, you should do it. I'm like, you know what?
Okay, I just gotta pause. What's your mom's name?
Leslie.
Leslie. Okay, awesome. So Leslie LaCouvee.
Yeah.
Powerful advice from Leslie LaCouvee.
Yeah.
Your career is defined by yourself, no one else. Right? It's phenomenal advice for Connor, phenomenal advice for every goaltender. Okay, carry on. I had to get a plug on.
So then I load my Ford Escape up at the time and drive like 18 hours up to Grand Prairie.
The Ford Escape is loaded up. You're driving to Grand Prairie.
Okay, but before I go up there, I should preface it. The Grand Prairie Storm, their team, their goalie the year before just won AHL Goalie of the Year, and he's returning back.
And who's that? What's his name?
I forget his name.
Okay, it's all good.
Forget his name. So I'm like, I've been traded up there. Their goalie just won Goalie of the Year last year. I'm gonna just go sit on the bench. What is going on? So I speak with the GM. He's like, yeah, we need another goalie. Like, we want you to push him, and you never know what's gonna happen. All right, you know what? I'm just gonna do what I'm told. I'm just gonna go try this out. So I get up there. I meet with I bring my gear into the locker room, what they're telling me, and I meet with the coach. I'm like, hey, how's it going? I'm Connor LaCouvee. He's like, who are you? I'm like, I'm Connor LaCouvee. You guys traded for me? He's like, yeah, I don't know actually know who you are. Like, the GM and we're two different people, and the GM actually is like getting fired. So thanks for coming out, but we're gonna figure this out. I'm like, what? So I'm like, okay.
Did you call your mom at that point? Mom, what was that evasion?
How's going on? Yeah. So then, like, literally we have a team meeting the next day, the day after I've like driven 18 hours or so to get out there, split it up 10 and 10 or something like that. And they have a meeting with all the board members and the head coach. They're like, hey, so guys, just want to keep you in the loop. We fired the GM because he's been doing some like crazy stuff and this and that. Yeah. And I'm like, what? So no one knows who I am. The coach doesn't even know who I am. He knows who I am. He's like, you know, we'll try and help you. You can practice here for a little bit.
Yeah. Did they have a third goalie?
Yeah. So like I was a third goalie. They had two goalies. And so it's like, what the heck's going on? Luckily, the guy there was a really good guy. He let me practice, and what ended up happening?
The coach.
Yeah,
you remember the name?
Okay, all good. And he was a great guy. Ended up letting me practice there for a week, 2 weeks, and finally, I got a call from Merritt Centennials.
Yes.
Yeah, Luke Pierce.
Okay.
And one of their goalies got hurt.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, we want you to come out here. We need a goalie. Like, if you play well, you'll stay here the whole year. And that.
Yeah.
Go out there, play super well. 4 games, 4 wins. Awesome. And then in like 2-3 weeks, their goalie comes back and Luke's like, hey, you've done super well here. Love your game, love your stuff. But like, the guy that we have is a local guy. I promise not to cut him. We can't keep you. We're shipping you back to Alberni Valley. Alberni Valley.
You're in the BC Hockey League now, though.
Alberni's like 30-40 minutes.
Yeah. So when he told you that, what were your thoughts? What was in your head?
I was kind of like laughing because they had cut me 2 years before my junior career. So I'm like, okay, we'll see how it goes. Let's go. Yeah. So I go to Alberni Valley.
I love the Terminator mentality, the persistence here. Huge.
Go to Alberni Valley. The team is like 2-13, dead last in BCHL, and we go out there, have a couple tough games to start, and then start kind of rolling, start getting it going, and we end up making playoffs. Last game of the season to like clinch a playoff spot, we beat Powell River like 4-0, big 40-something save shutout, and get into playoffs, and fortunately lose game 7 against the top seed, but it was a really cool.
You take the team to playoffs.
It was a really cool season, Pete. Yeah, it was really, really cool.
What? And that's a story of persistence. Like that right there is. I got to do a slideshow of that.
It was really cool.
Persistence.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's so. Okay, so to recap that season real quickly, to recap it in like 30 seconds. Take us through once again where you started and through the teams again. Just real quick.
So Nanaimo traded to Grand Prairie traded to Merritt Centennials traded to Alberni Valley, and then stuck with Alberni from like, I don't know, November to the end of the year.
And what was the key turning point in Alberni? Like, was it just you when you got in, you played well, or what was it?
There was another goalie and I kind of going back and forth. And I think one of the big things that was actually a turning around point was the coaching staff sitting down after maybe like 3 games where we had lost, where I played, we'd lost, and they were kind of just like, hey, what's going on? Like, we need you to play better. We traded for you to play well, like how you're playing in Merritt. Like,
yeah,
let's go kind of here. And for me, this is always been something in my career that when someone has told me that, I feel like I've performed well. I feel like I've kind of like risen to the occasion. I think maybe sounds a little bad, but I think sometimes, as a goalie, right?
Yeah.
Some coaches are a bit hesitant to giving feedback, to giving criticism, constructive or, non-constructive. They don't want to hurt the goalie's feelings. And for myself, like, I would always rather that transparency.
Well, it sounds like they said it in a positive way too.
Yeah,
like,
it was. Yeah,
like they gave you a reputation to live up to.
Exactly.
Basically, they said, "Hey, you're better than this. You played so well in Merritt, and you need to do the same thing here."
Exactly, and that was a huge. I think that was a huge point that kind of got me going.
Who was the coach? Who was coach?
That was Kevin Willison, Adam Hayduk. And our goalie coach, Alex Evans. He was phenomenal. He was like the driving force between them.
Alex Evans.
He's the head coach of Prince George now.
There you go. Shout out to Alex Evans, head coach of Prince George. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so from there, what happened after that season?
So,
and you were what? You were at the end of that season. How old were you?
I was 18 or 19.
Okay, so going into your 19th year, probably.
So I May birthday, so after the season I would have been 19.
Okay, got it.
Got it. So near the end of the season, maybe February, March, I was starting to get some interest from a couple teams: Alaska's, Union, Ferris State, Connecticut, and then just, it's funny how this works with like college interest or even any sort of interest we were talking about earlier. Like, you can go from having zero college interest or zero professional interest or anything like that, and then one team gets a little excited with you, and then another team gets excited, and then all of a sudden it's kind of this like feeding frenzy. And that's really what happened. Just more and more teams got involved end of the season, and finally I got a call from Boston University to fly down and do an official visit, and I was like,
nice. It was Brian DeCord there at the time?
No, he wasn't.
Okay. So you go down to BU. And tell us about that. Like, what did you think when you got there?
I was absolutely blown away by it. I mean, Aganis Arena, just such a rich history of Boston University hockey. Our incoming freshman class was insane in terms of skill and talent. Jack Eichel being kind of the primary.
Jack Eichel.
Yeah, and that was like a huge selling point for me as well.
Did you play with him?
Yeah, that was my freshman year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, so you went there the next year?
Well, him and I were in the same freshman class.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, good stuff. So what year was your first year of college?
2013, 2014.
So how old were you?
I was 20.
You were so as a 20-year-old.
Yeah.
So you didn't even play your 20-year-old years junior?
No.
That's pretty impressive. Think about that. So you think of where Connor went from at 16, kind of nowhere to play junior, right? At 16, 17, struggling to play junior still. I don't think did you play junior at 17? Or
No. I maybe got called up once for Notre Dame.
Okay. 18. That's when you. Is that when you was 18? Was that the year?
18, 19.
Playoffs.
No, 18, 19 was. Yeah, 18, 19 was Alberni. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And then 19 turning 20 would have been 19 turning 20 would have been my Alberni year. I would have still been 19, sorry, but I turned 20 in May.
Got it.
In the summer. Yeah.
Okay. And then so tell us about your transition to college. If you could give goalies any advice for transitioning from junior A to college, what's the biggest advice? What's the one thing that comes to your mind that if I had to do this again, here's one thing I would have done a little differently? I'm not saying that we never want to have any regrets, but it's like, we the only reason for ever looking back is just to be better moving forward. That's it.
Yeah. There's a couple things. I think a huge thing and kind of maybe a generic answer is your time management. So, you have a lot of things
Hockey and school at the same time.
Hockey, school, social life, right? There's a lot of things to factor in when you're going to college, right? And you need to make kind of a distinction about what you want to do in college, right? With your undergrad degree, but also, I guess, the level that you want to pursue your undergrad degree, for lack of a better word, and what level you want to pursue hockey. And some schools you go to strictly become a professional hockey player.
Okay.
And some schools you go to become a professional in said industry that you're studying.
Yes.
Right.
So are you saying, so decide when you go there, decide which I think is important. What's my purpose?
Yeah, exactly.
What's my purpose of going here? Where do I need to put most of my time? What's my purpose?
Yeah.
If it is to become a professional hockey player, then that's great. Doesn't mean that you're still doing your schooling.
Exactly.
Yet so you have your definiteness of purpose.
Yeah, for sure. And I think you can still do high level academics and high level athletics. I'm advocating for that. I'm not telling you not to do that, but also just, again, coming back to that time management, being aware of what you're enrolling in, being aware of the time commitments for athletics, being aware of the time commitments for academics, and then, being aware of balance in your life, having the social component, being able to see your friends, being able to go have a coffee, being able to go outside and check out the city or check out the campus.
Yes. Okay. So Jack Eichel. So you played with him for how many years?
Just one.
Yeah. Okay. Did he go pro after his first year?
Yeah.
Okay. So what is the funniest moment with you and Jack Eichel?
I'm not sure if I can maybe say the funniest moment.
Okay, that's R-rated.
I'm not sure. There was kind of a funny moment, I guess, throughout the season where we had won the beanpot championship.
Yeah.
Right. And unfortunately, which actually was really unfortunate for him and brought a lot of stress, but there was a video that ended up getting leaked from someone's Snapchat story of him drinking from the beanpot.
Okay.
Might have been a Pepsi, might have been a beer. Undisclosed. And he was like, Buffalo, the first pick at the time.
Yeah.
And he was like, Buffalo, I'm coming for you, baby, and drinking from the cup.
Okay.
So it's just a hilarious kind of social media.
So it's funny to see it going viral.
Oh yeah, and I mean, unfortunately, it did bring a lot of stress into his life.
Really? How come?
Well, I mean, underage.
Oh yeah, okay, underage. Yeah.
And as you know, America at 21.
Yeah.
So there,
Buffalo, I'm coming for you.
Yeah, it's maybe not the best look, but I think now you probably laugh about it, and
What was the most inspiring moment with Jack Eichel?
Most inspiring moment.
Maybe that was it.
Maybe. It's tough to maybe say one moment, but I think just the level of commitment, dedication, focus, and intensity he brought to the rink every day. In the summers, and even during the season, Jack would be skating early in the morning. We were lucky because we played at Gannis Arena, which was our own arena. So we had free ice whenever we wanted.
Wow.
And so we had a group of guys that skate in the morning, and then we'd have team workout or practice at 3, and kind of vice versa. But he would be out there every morning skating,
really
training. Oh yeah, I mean, he was just
so there's a reason he's so good. There's no accidents.
Yeah, no accidents at all. And I mean, I think you'll kind of find that throughout most NHL players' careers. There's not accidents, right? It's not I'm speaking with some of the goalies I work with, and I'm saying, do you think Bobrovsky, Skinner are in the Stanley Cup Finals because they just thought it would be fun and they just kind of didn't have a plan and kind of waved around and just, we'll see how the season goes. We'll see how this game goes. No, they believed in themselves. They had the blueprint. They had this vision. They had this clear path, right? And you could see all those guys at Boston University that had that vision, had that kind of bead on their goals, that laser vision. And, it it's no surprise to me why they're at that level.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so from college,
yeah.
So what was the transition from? Actually, let's talk about college. What moment in college are you most proud of?
What moment I'm most proud of? That's a good question. So I played 3 years at Boston University. I graduated a year early, and then I went to Minnesota State Mankato.
You graduated a year early?
Yeah, I graduated a year early.
So you were good at school too.
Yeah, fairly.
Okay.
We had to be there for 1 summer semester each year, and I went there for 2 or 3 summer semesters, both of them, just because they paid for our housing. They gave us like a stimulus check.
Yep.
Free school, free housing, free money, work out with the team, this and that. I'm like,
why not?
I'm not going back to college. I'm in Boston.
Yeah,
exactly. So transferring to Mankato, I think maybe 2 moments. We won red hot hockey with with Boston University, which is like a tournament at Madison Square Garden. Played in that game. We beat Cornell in the shootout, which was really cool at MSG. I was playing. Awesome.
You won the shootout.
Yeah, it was awesome. And then I would say that's up there. And then I would also say winning the league my senior year when I was with Mankato, that was pretty special too.
Got it. Okay. Let's talk about transition now from college to pro. How did that happen?
Yeah.
And at what point did you start thinking pro?
Yeah. So after my college career, after Mankato, I had the opportunity to go down to Florida for the Everblades.
Yeah.
On just
were you thinking about pro before that? Like your first year college, did pro cross your mind? When you met Jack Eichel, did pro cross your, you know what I mean? Like at what point did you start thinking of, hey, I'm taking this beyond college?
Good question, Pete. And this is something I wish I was working with you earlier. I wish I had
someone got that clear picture.
Yeah, to explain this to me. And this I think is arguably, one of the most important things for goalies. Pete and I were speaking about it earlier, but your mindset, right? Your focus, your hard work, your love for the game, all this stuff supersedes, the technical, the tactical abilities, right? And I think for a lot of my career, I didn't really have, for parts of my career, when I had that focus, I was doing well and things were aligning. And when I didn't have that focus, things were kind of falling apart. And so at Boston University to start, I don't really think I had that focus, right? I was a younger kid from the island that received a scholarship to go play hockey at Boston University. And this is a very big deal for me, right? You're living in a big city. You're playing at
Hartsville to Boston.
Exactly.
Big change.
And I don't think I maybe managed it as well as I could have. I was like very excited to be there, but I don't think I really had that vision or really had that like.
Do you think you're in the fan mindset sometimes, maybe?
For sure.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's how I was a lot of times when I was just in the fan.
For sure. Right. And I didn't have that kind of, again, that plan or that blueprint.
Yeah.
And what was kind of the question? The pro hockey.
Oh, okay. Let's go back to my question here. So when did you start thinking pro? Like when did you start thinking I'm going to take this beyond college?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think I remember saying to myself, like going into BU, I was like, if I have a decent career at BU, I'll be able to play professionally. But it wasn't. I don't. Again,
but it's not the. It's not the. Yeah, and it wasn't the like when we do it. Like we do the whole. And we'll talk about Skinner real quickly here because when Skinner got drafted by Edmonton, I remember sitting down with them and doing the mind map of his career, right? And he was writing down win the Stanley Cup, right? Win all the trophies of Carey Price, like stuff like that. So what I mean is, it wasn't that clear endpoint. Focus, right? So it's and to me that makes all the difference with the is when we have that clear, because your subconscious mind, it starts to absorb it and start to do stuff. Okay, so but you started thinking, hey, I can play pro after. I can play pro after. And tell us about the transition from there to pro. How did that happen?
So I got an opportunity to go to Florida after Minnesota State Mankato. One of their goalies got hurt. They told me, hey, you'll be down here. It was after my season in Mankato. So after my season,
Florida the coast.
And I was like, you know what? Let's try it. Right. I want to do this. I'm not, every player, you don't want to play in the coast, you want to play in the NHL, right? So I was like, but you know what, you got to experience it. I want to see, what it's like, how it goes. And it was after my senior season, so very little kind of risk, if you know what I mean. Like it's not like I'm planning my whole next year around this. So I went down, I really enjoyed it, cool lifestyle. I enjoyed being with the guys. I obviously enjoyed playing hockey. So I'm like, okay, cool. And then that year I got an offer to go play in Maine, the Maine Mariners.
Oh, the American Hockey League.
No, this was actually the ECHL at the time.
Oh, it was. Okay, yeah.
This was actually the ECHL at the time. And so I went in there, and this year was probably the most driven year of my career, I'd say. Maybe it's definitely up there. And I really had, like, you talk about the focus. You talk about a plan. I had a plan. I had a focus. I was super dialed in and dedicated, and went to Maine, played very well, got called up to the American League with Utica, got put in relief for a game, played really well, got to start the next game, and crumbled. Didn't have a great game. We lost the game 5-0. It's just a mindset thing, right? Was just not able to really calm my emotions, not really able to calm my mind, couldn't find that flow state. And so a little bit crushed, because you're like, you just got called up, now I'm going back to the coast, what if I never get a shot, this and that. And then continue working in the coast, continue playing well, get an opportunity to go to Laval. And it was like very special. I was really excited. I'm like, okay, this is my second chance. Like, I'm gonna make the most of this. I gotta make the most of this. Like, I'm ready for it. And we go in, and cool story. We play against the Charlotte Checkers, who were the
Laval.
Was
Marco the goalie coach?
Yeah, Marco Marciano. Yeah.
Don't you love him?
Yeah, he's awesome. He's the man.
Yeah. Okay, so awesome. Marco's the goalie, and that was the time, I think that was right around that time when your dad's friend reached out to you.
Okay, was it
around that time? Yeah. Okay,
and go up there, and similar story to kind of Liga. They're like, hey, this is the plan. We just played Friday night in Belleville. You're coming out to play Saturday. You're gonna play Saturday. You're gonna pregame skate, play Saturday. I'm like, okay, like, let's do this, right?
Yeah.
And so Charlotte is the #1 team in the whole AHL.
Yeah.
Scott Darling is the opposing goalie.
Scott Darling, really?
Yeah. So like NHL legend, right?
Yeah.
And we play the game, and game goes pretty well. We're up a little bit, and Charlotte starts to come back, and I end up making a crazy save in the second period, just a total kind of game-changing save. A little bit lucky, kind of dive.
Doesn't matter.
Big glove save.
You're feeling so confident.
But before it, I was still a little bit nervous. We were up 3-0. I think they scored one. They scored another. I'm like, kind of in my head, I don't want to lose this chance, and a little bit drifting into this
negative
mindset.
Yeah.
And managed just to make this huge save and just really change the momentum in our favor. Got my confidence, got my focus, held out, beat Charlotte, and that was the start of a really good time in Laval. And then I think won the next 3-4 games in Laval, and played super well when I was there.
Nice. And then did they sign you after that?
Yeah, they signed me 2 years there in Laval.
Do you see? Yeah,
it was great.
Fantastic. What's the biggest advice you give to goalies transitioning from college to pro?
I think a big component is the off ice stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So being a professional athlete, your job, I kind of make a joke about this, but being a professional goalie, your #1 job is to stop the puck.
Yes.
Your #2 job is to effectively kill time.
Yeah.
Right. And it's kind of like, what do you mean by that? But I think a lot of goalies, a lot of players, especially coming from college where they have school, they have social, and they have hockey, they're doing a lot of things, right? They're involved with something. Their time is accounted for. And then going to pro, play hockey. And you only play hockey for 3 hours a day. Maybe if you're super committed, maybe if you really want to put a lot of work in at the rink, you're there for 5 hours, right? You're cold tubbing, you're working out, you're doing this. But 5 hours a day, that's maybe the most, 12 to 1. That's usually what my schedule looks like.
Yep.
So you have from 1 to 10 p.m. and then you have 9 hours to do something. And I think a big difference, a big kind of hurdle that a lot of players can't get over, or they don't know how to get over, is this, again, this time management, doing something with their time. A lot of
that's productive, that's good for them, that's not going to have a negative effect on the goalie career.
Exactly. And a lot of people get lost into this. A lot of people don't know how to manage that. And the worst thing you can do, and it's something that I did for a long time in my career, is ruminate on your practices, ruminate on your games, think about
hockey.
You
need something else.
I would leave the rink and I would just like, hockey, okay, well, practice was this, like, oh, I didn't stop this puck in the 3-on-2 drill, and what do you think the coach thinks? And this way of thinking, you're always turned on. So
fan mindset.
Yeah, you're always thinking about hockey, and you don't have that break. So then when you go to the rink the next day, you're not excited, you're not energized, you're not ready to play. You can't give yourself 100% because you're kind of redlining yourself throughout the day.
Yeah.
So I think like a great piece of advice is try to have kind of, I would say, 2 classifications of hobbies. Try and have a hobby that's going to have some sort of self-improvement, right? Take a course, read a book, lift weights, start a business, and then also have like a mind-numbing hobby. Play some video games, play a board game, go for coffees with your teammates, go for dinners, right? And I think those like 2 key pieces really helped me to manage my time and allow me to be very present when I was at the rink on the ice.
Yes. I love that. Well, and even now, like what you do now, working with goaltenders. Like that's a great thing where you actually even get better. Right. I think it makes your game even
100%,
better when you do stuff like that, right? With that free time. That's huge. I love it. Lowest point ever in your career, and how did you bounce back?
Lowest point ever. I think it was getting traded or getting cut from Nanaimo. That was probably the lowest point. I pretty much said to myself, said to my parents, like, I'm done. I'm quitting. I do not want to play.
Grand Prairie.
Yeah,
Okay.
Exactly. Traded from Nanaimo to Grand Prairie. That was probably the lowest. That was probably the lowest point. That was definitely really low.
And you bounced back with your monthly advice.
Oh yeah, that was very low. I think not last season, but 2 seasons ago, playing in Slovakia, first 4 or 5 games, like all lost. It's all like 4 or 5 goal games or something. And my agent texts me, he's like, he's a Czech guy. He's like, I am worried they're going to fire you.
After I get shut good for the mind. Let's just let that percolate and grow in our mind, right? Thanks.
Look at my phone.
Thanks,
like,
buddy.
are you extra?
See, if you look at that text and you compare that to what the coach said to you in Alberni, I think when he called you in and said, hey, you're better than this, you can do this. So if that guy had changed his text and said, hey, you're better than what's happening right now, let's go do it. You're saying the same thing in a positive way.
Exactly. And and again, I think these times in my careers where someone has told me that, I mean, the way he texted me, obviously there's a little bit of a language barrier. So you know, I kind of played it off or didn't read into it too much. But you also know when you're not performing, and you also know as an import in Europe, you can't, it's not even good enough to be good. Like this past season, I had a good year, and still they want more, which is the whole thing, right? It's understandable. But these times of, I think, like radical transparency, being honest with yourself and being like, okay, I'm not performing the way I can perform. I'm not playing up to my standards, and I'm going to change this. Not, oh, I hope my D play better for me, or I hope the other team doesn't get so many scoring chances, or I hope there's not penalties called on my team, but just because once you start to attribute all these factors to like external factors to your own success, then it just takes all your power away. Right. And I think these times of being able to get that power back, give myself back power, and realize that like it's on myself. No one else is going to save me. This is I can do this, and I am the only person that can change my career. I'm the only person that can save my career.
Yeah.
Besides me, bro. So I've said that text twice now.
I know you did too. I love it. I love. We got to show that. Can we show that text on the podcast?
For sure.
This is funny. It's awesome.
That's awesome.
It's awesome. Favorite goalie coach, like favorite goalie coach you've ever worked with, and why? Like, why?
That's tough, man. You're gonna make me. I can't give you one.
Like
give you one.
Like Marco.
I have so many that I've been blessed to have. I think starting in Alberta Valley. It's funny, actually. Before I came here today, I texted Alex Evans last night, and I just said, "Hey man, thanks again." I was doing a lot of introspection last night for whatever reason. I just said, "Hey man, thanks again for everything you did for me." Because he was such a great supporter.
And that's Alex
Evans.
Head
coach at Prince George.
Okay.
He was the first goalie coach I had that spoke to me about like the mental game or like the tactical. And sure, we're doing some drills in practice to help my technical, but he was just a very like positive guy.
Yeah.
I'd have a good game. He'd be like, okay, awesome, great stuff. You're dialed in on this. I love this game. I'd have maybe an okay game. He's like, yeah, whatever. Like, did you see how good you were here? Like, and it was just the first time someone had like worked with my mind as a goalie.
Made a difference.
So that was huge.
Next question. Or no, keep going. You want to keep going?
I mean, at Boston University, my junior year, I was lucky to have Brian Eklund, who was an awesome guy.
Okay.
I wish I got to work with him more. Just kind of transferring. He was a great dude. I really enjoyed with him. And then when I went to Minnesota, Mankato, Brendan Pottersay, he's been my goalie coach for a long time. He's a phenomenal guy. I've been super lucky to work with him. He's just been the absolute man. Like, he really, really helped me. I wouldn't be playing pro without him.
Really?
He's in Mankato. Yeah, he's awesome.
Really good.
I worked with him a couple summers after. Nothing but good things from Pods. He's the man. Yeah,
he is.
Awesome. Awesome guy.
You don't have to say the name, but worst goalie coach you ever had, and how come? Worst goalie coach you ever had. How come? No need to say the name, but does anyone come to mind? And why? Yeah,
I think there was one that maybe I could say.
Yep.
And why? I think because they wanted me to play a certain style of play and try, and this was actually playing in pro.
They try to change you.
Yeah, and they want everyone to play like a certain system. And at the professional level, I think you need to work on your, again, I'll say it all day, your technical.
Yeah.
But even at this level, more so your tactical, and then your mental at the most, right?
Yeah.
And we were doing like goalie skates, and he was giving me a hard time for like small shuffles or wanted me to T-push instead of, and I'm like, it doesn't really matter.
And then the mind starts thinking.
I'm like,
and then it's the focus is not on what needs to be on.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't really matter, and maybe that's a blind spot in my own way of thinking, but it's like we should be focusing. I'm already moving pretty well. I'm a good skating goalie.
Yeah.
We should be focusing on what more you have to teach me, what tactical elements you can bring to my love, what levels of preparation, what you experienced throughout your professional career. Not so much.
Oh, so this is an ex-pro goalie.
Yeah. Really. Not so much what type of movement sequence I'm using from here to here. Now, don't get me wrong. If you are like, there are various components of overlap, RVH, where there are like technical components that you should factor in, but like this was something that's like a minute detail that wasn't really part of the bigger picture, and it's like such a low ROI to be investing on it and like trying to create a talking point around that. I didn't feel that was maybe the best, but
makes sense. Best head coach you ever had? Who's the name and why?
Good question. Before I talk, I should mention Peter Kosa and Dominik Antalya, both my goalie coaches from Slovakia. Phenomenal guys. I worked with Peter for a little over a year.
Okay.
he is phenomenal. I think he's super intelligent goalie coach. Him and Dom are awesome guys, and they've really helped my game. And
we got to make sure we tag them or give them shout outs or something like that, right?
Dominic is my goalie coach for this year upcoming.
Oh, great.
So I am absolutely fired up. That was a big reason of me wanting to go to that team next year, because we did a lot of great work together. I'm really excited to work with him again, build on a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Favorite head coach and why? I would say, I think maybe, from a coaching standpoint.
Yeah, just like for say a coach making you feel good as a goaltender, helping improve your game.
Yeah, I would say the coach I probably learned the most from, and it was Mike Hastings at Mankato.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mike Hastings.
Yeah.
Mankato.
Yeah, he's now
shout out to Mike Hastings. Why was he so good?
Yeah, he's now in Wisconsin.
Okay.
And he is just the man. He sets a standard for all his players that is very high. He wants everyone, following the Maverick way at the time, at Mankato, and like everyone is prepared for practice. Everyone is dialed in. You talk about your practice level, your practice habits, mirroring your game habits.
So he's clear.
I mean, there's a reason Mankato has the most wins in college hockey over the past 5 years.
Yeah.
From
because they have the most wins in practice, so to speak.
Man, he just phenomenal coach. Little anecdotal piece. So it is sometimes easy for goalies to kind of skip by on a practice, right? Sometimes it's easy to, not battle for a rebound, or hey, it's a 3-on-0 drill. I'm going to kind of just, I'm going to try, but sometimes it's it's tough, right? And I remember we were doing this 2-on-0 drill one time at Mankato, and I think we maybe 5-6 weeks in the season. I was 5-0, 6-0, won all my starts, playing super well, slowly becoming the starting goalie for the team. And it's a Wednesday practice, 2-on-0s, and I get beat a couple times, and I'm not giving my all. I'm not working as hard as I could. He's blows the whistle and skates over. He's "Are you sick?" I'm pissed off. I'm what? He's "Are you sick?" I'm "No." He's "Get the hell," and then start playing better, basically.
That's what
he's roast me almost in the middle of practice. And I'm again, with that, transparency. I'm yeah, you're right. Yeah. And he was he didn't really have a whole bunch of, maybe he does, I don't know, but high level goalie competency, but he understands hard work. He understands discipline. Right. And just having someone like that is so important.
You could tell if you're competing or not.
Compete, because that's all I wanted, for guys to compete, guys to work hard, guys to be prepared.
Yep. Yeah.
Right. So I think he was such a great coach for me, and there's so many attitude and effort that was ingrained in me at Mankato. I say that all the time to anyone I work with. All Hastings would say is, what can you control? Your attitude, your effort.
Yes. This
is the most important thing. You can't control anything else. Control your attitude, control your effort.
Love it.
Yeah.
Worst coach you ever had? Don't say the name, but worst coach you ever had. I'm talking head coach, and why? Why were they so bad for goalies?
Why are they so bad for goalies? I had some pretty good coaches.
You don't have to answer it.
Yeah.
If no one comes to mind, you don't have to answer.
I think just the worst coach I had, just very emotional.
Okay.
And very
fan mindset.
Very emotional, very sporadic with teachings, practice plans, kind of unorganized, and then blaming other people.
Got it.
Right? Blaming other people. And
sets a negative tone.
Sets a negative tone.
Probably feeds to the players.
Exactly.
Blaming each other.
Yeah. Something that I think we've spoken about before, just how, I think sometimes as a coach and as a goalie relationship, sometimes they're not ripping out the goalies maybe as much as they are the players. Right? But sometimes that level of play or that negativity still creeps into your game.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so I think the worst coach I've had, just very emotional, very sporadic, very very negative, right? And not fostering a proper culture, not fostering, a high performing culture. And, I was super blessed to play at, Boston University with Coach David Quinn, Mike Hastings, and Mankato, where these guys like had set an incredible standard. Incredible standard for the players.
Their influence will influence you the rest of your life.
Yeah, and I'm super I'm spoiled to have these type of coaches. So everything, like that's such a high level. I mean, these are NHL coaches, right? You know what I mean? So not to say every other coach hasn't been as good, but the precedent or the standard I've had is very, very high. And you can definitely see a difference when you go to different organizations and the level of authority coaches command, the level of hard work, discipline they require of you. And pro is a different animal because your head coach in pro like shouldn't be telling you to work hard or shouldn't be telling you to be disciplined, right? It's on you to do that. That's why you're a professional. So a little bit different kind of parameters, if you will.
Got it. Okay. Next question. So we've been working together for what? 2 years? 3 years?
No, like that.
How long?
Well, yeah, I guess I don't know. Finland is. Yeah, I think this will be fourth. I think going into fourth year.
Okay, fourth year. What's the biggest?
3.5, 3.
Okay, about 3. Yeah, 3.5. Okay. What's the biggest difference with your mindset now compared to before we started working together?
I think the biggest difference, and this was maybe even upon one of the first sessions, was the introduction of concentration calories, the introduction of when the puck is dropped, you focus on the puck and the play. When the whistle's blown, you are relaxing, you're saving, you're conserving your concentration calories.
Which is interesting, which almost goes to a higher level, like when if that goes to say the same thing as far as when you're off the ice. You know what I mean? When you're practicing, you're giving it your all. And then after practice, you got some conservation time. Whereas there was a challenge at some points where you say that you were still burning those calories.
For sure.
Okay. So that's the biggest thing.
I would.
Okay. Excellent. And how has it showed in your results? What would you say was the biggest thing as far as results go?
I wouldn't be playing hockey. If it wasn't for you.
Really?
For sure.
Wow.
For sure. That year definitely in Finland, introducing me to those concepts, the concepts we worked on, the concepts I learned was integral for me to still play and learning to manage my mind better, right? And I think the concentration calories, puck and play, that is something that was like novel to me at 27 years old. After playing pro for 4 years. Right. And it's something that I think to myself, man, if only I could have learned this at Boston University in Laval.
We wish we were working together when you were in Laval.
Where my career could have been at, or where the possibility is. And this is not an excuse, but it's something that, again, I say it all the time, is that anyone can teach you the technical components of this position. Any goalie coach can teach you how to butterfly, how to T-push, how to RVH. But there's a few goalie coaches that can teach you the tactical components, where you should be on the rush, where you should be in the net on the PK, pattern recognition, thinking like a player. And then there's even another small subset that's going to teach you about the mental, how to manage your emotions. In-game mental management, how to deal with confidence, how to reset, all these things. So concentration calories, athlete mindset, resets were a big thing. All those things. Bounce back.
So and you work with goaltenders now, like and I think it's the best thing, right? Because people get to work with you while you're playing during your career, which I think is great. And so tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, awesome. So I've been coaching, for a couple of years, but just coaching for other goalie schools, helping out at different coaches events. And then last summer I basically started my own business, LaCouvee Goaltending, pretty generic name, right? Maybe I have to get the rebrand going later.
That's something like it. It says it all.
Yeah. And started kind of doing it just kind of like a hobby, just kind of like a way to maybe make a little bit extra money, work with some goalies, see where it goes.
You love it.
Something to do in the summers, right?
You're making a difference.
Yeah. Well, but at first this is what it started out as. And then I started to like take some clients, work with some goalies, and then started to get like some results with them. They're like, oh, I thank you so much. I really enjoy this. I made this team. I won a game. I'm like, man, this is so rewarding. It became incredibly exciting, incredibly rewarding.
You get the dopamine from that. Yeah.
To see the goalies that I'm working with have success, appreciate it, and being able to kind of give back the game, give back what I've been given through my experiences, and hopefully give them a better foundation than what I was given. Give them skills and character traits that I wish I had when I started playing.
Yeah. That's huge. So how can people find you? They can find you Instagram at LaCouvee Goaltending.
Yeah, any socials at LaCouvee Goaltending, and then my website www.LaCouveeGoaltending.com.
I don't think you need to say www. You just go LaCouveeGoaltending.com.
LaCouveeGoaltending.com.
Yeah. There you go. And then you're also becoming a certified mindset coach with us as well too, which I think you can do both and stuff like that. That'll be huge. I'm excited to have you on board there. You're going to influence so many goaltenders and help grow that area. I think which would be fantastic. And you're a product of the product.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Which is huge. So also to look for Connor as one of our certified mindset coaches. You'll see more information coming out and stuff like that on it and stuff like that. But he's phenomenal to work with. You guys will love working with Connor. He'll make a big impact on your game, 100%, right? And what else do we want to cover today? What else do we want to cover? But this has been a long podcast. So 20, 30 minutes.
I was going to say, I feel like a while. Well, I guess I just want to say I'm very excited for that opportunity to be a certified coach. Like I have said a million times, I mean, the mindset coaching, this stuff, your belief system, how you manage your game on the ice, how you manage your mind on the ice, away from the ice. This stuff is going to, the ROI on that, your return on this, you're going to be able to develop way further, achieve levels that you want to get to by working on your mind. Right after a certain point, like it's going to be a lot tougher to develop your skating, to develop your save selection. You can't grow past a certain height.
Yeah,
you can always improve on your mind. You have that growth mindset, right? And that is the difference for me between, maybe a AAA goalie and a junior goalie to a college goalie to a pro goalie to an NHL goalie. The NHL goalie to an elite, like an NHL All-Star, right? It's just the mindset. It's not, maybe 5% technical, maybe 10% tactical.
Yes. And one thing I want to finish off with is, like, you are a much better goalie now than when you were in Laval.
Yeah.
Right. Like, think of how much better you are now. Like I'm talking technically, tactically, mentally, right? So I think there's still opportunity for you, National Hockey League wise, and sometimes people, and you kind of snicker and stuff like that, right? But it's like, I wish sometimes that management or scouts would get it through their head that, goaltenders, because how old are you now? 30. You're young. It's like
I got 10 years. I get 10 more years playing.
30 or 31 is when I started working with Jeff Glass.
Okay.
Right. Remember?
Yeah.
We did that. So anyways, maybe we do a plan for whatever it is, a year and a half plan, a year plan or something like that, right? Because might as well.
And that's the thing. I 100% believe that, if you have that plan in place, if you have that clear focus, if you are committed to it, then anything is possible.
It is 100%. Connor, thanks for coming on.
Awesome. Thanks, appreciate it.
the Goalie Mindset Podcast. We're honored to have the great Connor LaCouvee on today. LaCouvee goaltending. Connor is powerful. We're going to go eat some raw liver, some raw heart, maybe do a glass walk, board break. We're going to go on a little barefoot hike and see if we can find some bears and let's keep it going. We got a couple hours left, I think, right?